A major European capital just went an entire year without a single traffic death. Not a small town, not a quiet suburb. Helsinki, the capital of Finland, managed something most cities can only dream of. And that's just one of the good news we are covering today. Hey guys, I'm Freddy. And these are 10 good news stories from all around the world. Our first story starts down in Australia, where the government just passed something that's going to change the lives of 3 million people. And here's how it worked. If you had HELP or HELP debt, 20% of what you owed just literally disappeared. No applications, no paperwork, nothing. The law automatically cut everyone's higher education loans by exactly 20%. Someone with the average loan of $18,400 now owes $3,700 less. This was actually the Australian Prime Minister's first priority when he got back into Parliament after winning the election in May. Young Australians are struggling with rising costs. Rent, groceries, and everything else is getting more expensive. Student debt was just another burden on top of that. And with millennials and Gen Z making up nearly half of the votes, the Labour Party knew this was exactly what they wanted to hear. And they also raised the income limit. So now you don't have to start paying back your loans until you earn $44,500 instead of $36,200. I'm wondering, is any of you guys watching from Australia and affected by this? Let me know in the comments below. While students are getting relief, others are getting new opportunities. Up north in Canada, something historic just happened that's creating a completely new model for conservation. 21 Indigenous nations across the Northwest Territories just secured $375 million to protect an area twice the size of Florida. It covers nearly 380,000 square kilometers of wilderness and existing protected areas. But this isn't just about setting aside land. It's about recognizing that Indigenous people have always been the best caretakers of their territory. The agreement, called Our Land for the Future, is a partnership between federal, territorial, and indigenous governments. But here's what makes this deal so remarkable. It's creating hundreds of seasonal, part-time, and full-time jobs, while protecting some of the world's most healthy ecosystems. Chief Ernest Betsina explained that this agreement represents years of working together. The funding supports Indigenous Guardians programs where trained community members monitor wildlife health or respond to climate impacts like wildfires and droughts. And they also help to restore endangered animals like the caribou. The Indigenous people have always cared for the land, and now that responsibility is finally being recognized and funded. From protecting wilderness to protecting lives. Helsinki just broke a huge record with a whole year without a single traffic death. The Finnish capital managed something most cities can only dream of. They went an entire year without a single person dying on their roads. The city had already been making huge progress. They recorded just 4 fatalities in 2024, 6 in 2023, and 5 in 2022. So reaching 0 was well within reach. But here's where it gets interesting. Helsinki didn't just get lucky with this achievement. They completely changed how they think about city planning. Instead of building everything around cars, they gave little priority to cars. They improved public transport, lowered speed limits, and built better walking and cycling paths. Around 34,000 people now cycle across the city every day during summer. And the cycling numbers keep growing year after year. On top of that, they set up automatic speed enforcements at 33 spots around the city, checking for speeding, red light running, and phone use. Next up, we take a look at the medical world. And one of the major challenges is tackling malaria. Every year, malaria kills around 600,000 people and affects around 260 million more. The disease is commonly spread by mosquitoes. When a mosquito bites an infected person, it picks up malaria parasites. These parasites then need to reproduce inside the mosquito before infecting the next person. But here's the thing. While infected people carry millions of parasites, only a tiny fraction actually make it through to reproduce inside mosquitoes. Scientists call such a dramatic reduction a bottleneck, and it gives them a perfect target. And that's exactly what Australian researchers at the Walter and Eliza Hall Institute focused on when they found out how malaria parasites reproduce inside mosquitoes. They found the contact points between two key proteins that let the parasite spread in the mosquito. These contact points are where the proteins bind together. And when this binding happens, the parasite can reproduce and spread. So, they developed an mRNA vaccine. These vaccines work by teaching your cells to make specific antigens that your immune system can recognize. When people get this vaccine, it targets those contact points and thus stops the parasite from reproducing inside the mosquito. And in simple words, the results were remarkable. A 99.7% drop in the rate of transmission was recorded in preclinical studies. It's still early days, but this could become an important tool in the fight against malaria. And speaking of medical advances, researchers in Switzerland just made progress on a huge problem that's been challenging heart surgery for decades. When someone has a heart attack, the damage can be so severe that the heart wall actually ruptures. Right now, doctors just patch it up with tissue from a cow's heart. Yeah, I've never heard of that before either. But those patches just sit there forever as alien objects. They can cause infections because your body knows that they don't belong there. Now, researchers at ETH Zurich have created something completely different. Instead of just covering the damage, their patch actually works with your body. And it has three parts: a fine mesh that seals the damage, a 3D printed support structure, and a hydrogel loaded with living heart muscle cells. And here's the incredible part. The support structure slowly dissolves as your own heart tissue grows into it. So instead of a permanent patch, your heart actually regenerates with your own tissue. They tested it on pigs, and the results were amazing. It held strong under intense blood pressure and started the healing process. The goal wasn't just to seal the damage, but to help the heart repair itself completely. For millions of people who suffer heart attacks, this could transform recovery from just surviving to completely healing in the future. And medicine isn't the only area with good news. There's progress in cleaning up our planet too. Real changes are happening right now thanks to Planet Wild and their community. As many of you probably know, most of the plastic in our oceans actually comes from rivers. And one of the most polluted ones in Europe is the Drin River, which carries tons of waste through Albania straight into the Mediterranean Sea. And to stop this from happening, Planet Wild funded a project to stop this flow of plastic. One crucial spot is the Firsa Dam, where plastic naturally piles up. So, they used that to their advantage. By using a specially designed boat that is able to collect 1 ton of trash in under 20 minutes, they were able to turn this reservoir full of plastic into this. But the story doesn't end here. They even renovated an old building nearby where the plastic is sorted, pressed into blocks and sold. And that income now helps to pay local salaries and keeps the project running on its own. And this is just one of Planet Wild's projects. Planet Wild is a community-based nature protection organization. Every month, their community funds a new project to restore nature. And Planet Wild releases a video about it right here on YouTube, so you can see what the community contributions have achieved. Think of it like crowdfunding for nature. This is why we wanted to work with them and already became members ourselves. So, if you want to make a real difference for the planet, make sure to check out Planet Wild. You can give whatever amount feels right to you, big or small. And here's a special gift from us. The first 100 people to sign up with our code GOOD10 get their first month completely free. You can scan the QR code on screen or just click the link in the description. And don't worry, you can cancel anytime. And the best part, you will see your impact almost instantly. Within 30 days, you will get to watch the results in the next update video on YouTube. Next up, in the UK, one of the country's rarest birds just pulled off something incredible. This is the Montagu's harrier. We are talking about a species that hasn't successfully raised chicks in the UK for 6 years. But this summer, something amazing happened. A couple of them showed up at a field and decided to nest. The location is kept secret to protect them from egg collectors and crowds of birdwatchers. They quickly installed protective fencing around the site. Thanks to tracking bands, researchers discovered the male was born in southern England back in 2015, and he's now paired with a French female. After going from 9 successful nests in 2011 to years of complete silence, this pair has now raised 4 healthy chicks under the protection of both conservationists and a local farmer. Excitingly, something big just happened in climate tracking. For decades, getting emissions data was painfully slow. Countries would report their numbers a year or two later. This obviously doesn't help when you're trying to solve problems quickly. But this just changed completely. Earlier this year, Climate Trace launched the world's first real-time emissions tracking system. Using satellites, AI and ground sensors, it monitors over 660 million emission sources across the planet. Power plants, factories, farms, shipping ports, you name it. And this data is only 60 days old. And we can already see the impact. For example, worldwide transportation emissions totaled nearly 4.5 billion tons in the first half of 2025. Or China's total emissions were 8.8 billion tons in the same period. This might not sound revolutionary until you realize that before the system, we would have to wait 1 to 2 years to get these numbers. Journalists can now fact-check corporate claims in weeks, not years. And companies can now optimize operations in real time. Meanwhile, cities can track progress month by month and make real changes. For example, San Francisco used the system to check their ferry network and found that switching just one route to electric could save 2,000 tons of CO2 annually. And the best part, anyone can use it for free. You can check emissions from your own city or even look up specific power plants. We put a link in the description. And no, this is not a paid ad or anything. Tracking emissions is one thing, but there's more. Hawaii just found a way to fund environmental protection. The state introduced America's first green fee, a tourism tax increase from 10.25% to 11% on hotel stays, short-term rentals and cruise ship cabins that will raise around $100 million each year. And every dollar of that goes exclusively to environmental projects. Coral reef restoration, beach protection and removing fire-prone grasses that contributed to those devastating Maui fires. Obviously, some of the tourists are not very excited about the extra cost. But at just $2 more per day per tourist on average, the response has been pretty manageable. And the hotel industry actually backs this. Hawaii Hotel Alliance President Jerry Gibson says they need the money to restore beaches and remove invasive plants around hotels. Not because they are making more money, but because they know their business depends on keeping Hawaii's environment healthy. They are following successful models from places like Bhutan and Venice, where similar fees fund conservation without hurting tourism numbers. Moving from the Pacific to Europe, Ireland just made history by shutting down its last coal-fired power plant 6 months ahead of schedule. The Money Point plant had been powering Ireland for nearly 4 decades, but now it's gone for good. That makes Ireland one of 8 European countries to completely end coal power. And Ireland isn't stopping there. The country has been rapidly expanding renewable energy. Just this past July, wind power supplied 24% of Ireland's electricity, while solar energy broke all previous records, hitting 798 megawatts from grid-connected solar farms alone. That's 4% over their previous solar high and enough to meet close to 6% of all electricity demand. And Ireland is now looking beyond just powering itself. Researchers at Dublin City University just released a study showing how Ireland could become a major exporter of green hydrogen to the rest of Europe. Using their wind resources and growing solar capacity, Ireland could produce green hydrogen for as low as $3 per kilogram by 2040. And that's well below today's typical cost of $4 to $12 per kilogram. So, coal is now officially history in Ireland, and their clean energy future is just getting started. And that's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments below which of these stories you liked the most, and big thanks again to Planet Wild. If you want to make a difference for the planet, scan the QR code or use the link below. And if you're curious about their project cleaning up one of Europe's most polluted rivers, you can watch their video right here. Thank you for watching, and I see you in the next video. Bye bye!